Hi guys, Aubrey with the Leonardo and Leo at Home coming to you today with Dennis from the Clever Bean. Hi Dennis.
Hello.
So Dennis, tell us a little bit about the Clever Bean and then we'll get into our beatbox teach.
So my name is Dennis Garrett. I am co-founder, co-owner of the Clever Bean. It's a coffee house over in Draper, Utah. Started the project several years ago with a childhood friend. We actually lost contact for about 10 years and then got back together to start the coffee shop. There's a lot of story kind of that goes into how everything started and everything like that. But today, I actually would like to talk about my beatboxing skills, something I've been doing since 2004. And so how it all started was in one of my art classes in high school. There's a kid that came in, he was really good at beatboxing. He was really good at using the bass. So, and doing some punchy beats and everything. And he ended up sitting at my table, taught us how to beatbox, and I was inspired. No one else seemed to care, but for some reason, I really wanted to learn. And so he gave me a sheet of paper with just basic sounds for me to practice. And I remember going into a bathroom, maybe within a week of first learning and thinking, if I get good at this at all, I have to remember that this was extremely difficult in the beginning. And it was a lot of just trial and error, a lot of just messing up over and over again. But I started battling online within 2 months of starting. And I did that for a while, entered in talent shows, went to Westminster College and won the annual talent show all 4 years. At one point, I think in 2009, I was able to open up for Jason Derulo. There was a connection with Westminster College, and so that was a lot of fun. A lot more that I could say with regard to the beatboxing. I don't want to really talk myself up or anything, but I'd love to teach you some beats.
Just a couple of things. I love that you said that, you just found this passion that kind of out of nowhere and then dove super deep and hard. And I think what's really cool is right now that we're all in our stay in place, we're all in our homes, it really provides us the opportunity to try out new things. You can lock yourself in a bathroom or go down in your basement and really just do some beats and see how it goes. And you said you did battles online. How did you find those online battles? Because again, everything's digital right now. So if people wanted to improve their skill sets, how do they find those resources?
I think you just need to find something you can latch onto that's interesting and then just start going deep on it. For me, I didn't know there were online forums. I didn't know there were places you can battle. I didn't even think about entering in a talent show in high school. It was just, wow, this guy in my class can beatbox. I kind of want to learn. And it grew into a passion. And since it's my mouth, it's something I can practice all the time, which is nice. But it's not necessarily something that someone forced me to do. It grew out of my own self-interest. And for me, my parents gave me the flexibility to be noisy in the house. I played clarinet for about 7 years and annoyed them a lot with that. I'm surprised they didn't disown me earlier or something like that. But with the beatboxing, they just gave me freedom to do what I was interested in. I got into magic and different things like that. But with the beatboxing, it just started with an interest, started with a spark, and it just grew from there. But what I ended up doing was searching as many videos, as many forums, as many blogs on beatboxing. And then I came across this website called humanbeatbox.com that at the time, around 2004, was one of the top forums for beatboxing. And I was tied into a community with other beatboxers from Switzerland, from Japan, from all over the world. And then we were able to battle there. They had a certain structure for it, but I just went for it. I was like, all right, I'm going to practice the sound. I try to find my unique voice, but in the beginning, I copied everyone until I could really start doing my own thing. But the whole journey was a lot of fun. Like some of the noises I make have gone through maybe multiple levels of mastery, which is weird to me. And I had no idea what to expect with getting better with any of the sounds, but you just get better. You end up, your body gets adjusted to it. You end up building these muscles that you wouldn't normally if you didn't practice.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to sound as good as you. This is my first
Everyone starts somewhere. That's okay.
But let's get started. What's kind of the basic? What do you start with?
Okay, so with the drum set, you have the kick, hi-hat, and snare. That's usually the easiest way to start or to really frame it up. And so the kick sounds like it sounds like this. If you say B, 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 but then you put pressure behind your lips because you're using your lungs, or at least one way to do it. And then as you add that pressure, then you release, and it'll sound like B, 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 B. And then when you take out the vocalization, it sounds like B. So So do you want to try to make the B sound for the kick?
So I'm going from my lungs, and I say B.
And just saying
B, 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 B.
Then start putting more pressure behind your lips. Kind of squeeze your lips together so you don't let the air out right away, but you're putting pressure, like, and then let it out. Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
That's the kick right there. You got that. So as you practice that more and more, in the beginning, your muscles are going to start hurting a little bit because you're doing something over and over again you normally wouldn't do. But then it goes, you start tightening it, where you can control your lips, where you tighten it and you close it like this. So it's B. And so that's with it being kind of punchy and very quick. And all the sounds will be kind of like that. So we'll move on to the next one. The next one is the hi-hat. So it's like saying T. I feel like it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit lighter on the mouth. So it's T, T. Same thing, a little bit of pressure behind the lips. T, T. Then take out the vocalization. T, 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 t. If you do it tighter, it'll sound like t, 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 t. And then in a drum set, you have the hi-hat, open hi-hat or closed hi-hat. If it's closed, it sounds like t, 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 t. If you open it up, you just let it go a little bit longer. Do you want to try using the T sound?
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So try to do a long one. Exactly.
That's so hard. It has so much more breath behind it than I thought.
Oh, really? The T does? Gotcha. Yeah, the hi-hat and then this, I feel like the kick and the snare, which I'll show next, those take a little bit more pressure. But yeah, it's all kind of very similar, and then it's trying to put it in a sequence. But try to do a short hi-hat. So just quick. So you have the and you have the and then you've learned the. So now we know the kick and the hi-hat. Are you ready to move on to the snare?
Sure, let's just do it.
There are lots of different snares. The simplest one I feel like is saying K. So just like the kick, hi-hat, the snare will be saying K, 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 K. But then you take out the vocals and it's K, 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 K. You want to try that real quick? That's right. So now you're a beatboxer. Now we just need to put in a beat. So with those, that's right, you did it. I think we can end the call right now. You don't need to know anything else.
No. Okay, so what if we were to put those three together? How would, can you give me an example of the three and I can try and put together?
Oh yeah. So I'll write something down. It's hard. In the beginning, everything's a little bit challenging. But if you see that bottom one, you have if we're saying the B is the kick, and then the T is the hi-hat.
Yeah.
And then the K is the snare. And then we go back to the hi-hat. And then we repeat. So it'd be. All right. Do you want to try that one? I believe in you.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Look at that. Wow, got it. All right, do it 2 more times. I just want to make sure you got the sequence.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, so you know how to do a basic beat. That's actually a lot better than other people who I've taught. I can't say I'm the best at teaching, so this is actually good practice to know kind of how to go through the different things. But a drum set, very easy way to maybe visualize. Like everyone can kind of think, oh yeah, when you have a drum set, you have these different sounds. And then with your mouth, how you make them. And then with the beat, so just to give you an example of what we can do kind of from there, I'll do that beat, but then I'll just switch it up and I'll add more hi-hats, more kicks or something. Let me know if you have any questions. But the snare I like to use is not actually breathing out. So the snare you're using is going, but if I do that for a long time, eventually I'm gonna run out of breath. And so what I end up using for the snare is breathing in, doing the K sound, but sucking air in. So it sounds like. So now if I go, I'm getting air there. So it's losing air. so I can do that for a long time. And then, yeah, so I'll do the beat and then I'll kind of just switch it. I'm just experimenting here. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I love it.
So something like that, maybe.
That was amazing.
Thank you. So what I usually do, if I really like fast beats. When I was battling, I really wanted to impress people with doing things that were super quick, but I figured out my own way of doing it. One way that I link up beats or sounds to make them quicker is to do TK. So kind of like what you just learned, but you're doing them at the together. So if you do it really fast, it sounds like. So let me see if I can think of a beat to throw that into. So if we have that, the TK allows me to go pretty fast and make it sound like it's faster than it is. So it sounds like.
I love it. Just listening to you, I'm seeing different sounds. I'm seeing different speeds. Also, I just like the idea that I mean, I didn't even think about the breath behind it. I realize how hard that is now, but then the fact that you're also breathing in to keep that continuously. I mean, it sounds like there's so much science and practice and thought behind so many of these things that I didn't even fathom before about beatbox. I just thought it was cool.
For sure. And that is really interesting. Since I've been doing it for a long time, whenever I beatbox, I always compare myself to some of the best in the world because I've beatboxed with some of them. And then usually at that point, I just feel bad about myself. And it's like, oh, people aren't really impressed. But then when I do pretty basic stuff, but then I go into how it's done, I think that's more impressive for people because then there's that relatability of, oh, so you just got to another level, but in order to start, this is what I would have to do. And I'm realizing, oh, it's not so easy. It's fascinating. I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about it, but usually it's just connected with a lot of other beatboxers who already kind of understand it and kind of get it. But
right.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
From a beginner's standpoint, I want to go and get on YouTube and find like teaching tutorials. And I want to see like what other things there are to learn and how to put those together. And maybe while I'm doing the dishes or something,
oh yeah,
give myself a little practice.
For sure. Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. The fun thing is, as you become a musician, as a beatboxer, you're able to do so many different things like covers. And so if you do a cover, just to give you an example, you can use the air. You can use air through your nose. I'm trying to explain this. You use air through your nose, and then just the air in your mouth, it's kind of locked in there. You can make beats with that. So kind of like with what we're doing, instead of beat for the kick, you're just using the air. So it's a little bit weaker, but it sounds like. So now I can breathe through my nose and do a hum, like. And if we do the hi-hat, sounds like that. And then there's a different snare called the PFF snare. It's still using just the air in my mouth. And so if I can do a song like this, going, using this as well. So those are pretty fun.
All of that coming out of
Yeah, a lot of practice with that one. A lot of beatboxers actually start with that because it's not so, yeah, you don't have to use so many muscles in your mouth, I think. So going is probably easier, but for me, I want to be able to not use a mic and still be able to be heard as well. So I like the power beatboxing is kind of what I call it with using the lungs.
That was so amazing. Thank you for teaching me the kind of basic steps. Again,
Oh, for sure.
I've been inspired
Hopefully that's helpful
by your curiosity and just your originality and just saying, you know what, I have an interest, I'm gonna go for it. And obviously you've done very well. So
exactly.
Absolutely incredible. I hope that some of our viewers today share your videos in the comments. Show us your beatboxing practice. Again, everyone just
that
watched
would be awesome.
for the first time, so we'd love to see everyone's progress. It would be awesome.